Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, E-Farm. Thinking right out here in my lab. What I do for you. I got something nice for you today. I'm rolling today. I'm in class doing my thing. Let's get this party started. Writism, 25 rules led by storytelling. Story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's continue it. Right thing is mission, and that's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Know thyself. Remember that phrase. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. Here we go again. Hear that phrase again. Know thyself is the question I'm going to ask you again. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is just foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. I can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not and believe that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is asleep spiritually. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, every time you, right? Think to know thyself. Into my eye, be true. Back in the book, back on the dome, balance. My eye. You know how we do it. All right, let's start this off with right thinkers. Let's talk about what's the purpose of right thinker philosophy, aka Anuian theurgy, and the tree of life. We're dealing with the tree of life. Theurgy is the study of the gods. Okay, let's get understanding. So I can get this lesson. Hopefully you can follow along. I got my book here, and it says, "What's the purpose?" I just doing the right thing. Philosophy from my ego. The purpose of the Anuian theurgy and the Anuian tree of life, and it asks the question, big question mark, and guess what the answer is? You got it. Know thyself. Let's start off. Reek, I am I. What the what? I'm speaking commission concept. Know I in heart mind. That's what it says. But the translation is I know what is in my heart, or roughly said, I know thyself. I know myself. To know thyself is knowing myself. That's the translation. And it's some things that make that possible that you have to do for that to happen. This is why I teach. This is why I get the lessons. So let's get to the lesson right quick. The ab, they called the heart the ab. It was like a vase because conceptually, everything you think, feel, do comes from the heart. Self-creator, felt it, thought it, utter it. So the heart is important. That's why I say the heart mind. The heart got its own mind also. Yeah, sorry about that. Now you got the ab, or the heart is the mind of a person. It was known that the vase that they keep to represent the heart, everything was in there. When it weighed against the feather of my eye, if it was heavy, you had a problem. If it was light as the feather of my eye, you passed on. Let's go. Now, the ab or heart is the mind of a person. The ego, thoughts, aspects of the personality. It is the essence which contains what? Your desires, your feelings, your unconscious thoughts, which emanate from what? The soul, aka your ba of the person. The inner you, the you. The ba is resonated by the falcon with your head on it. If you connected with it, you woke it up, it become you, your consciousness. So when it leaves the body, you go with it. Your conscious goes with your spirit. That's the concept. Watch this. Thus, to know one's heart is the great injunction of spirituality. The whole point is to know thyself. They say hell, the road to hell is paved with what? Good intentions. Don't get you nothing done. Intent don't mean nothing. The result is what counts. Now, for to know your heart is indeed synonymous with what? Knowing the innermost self, aka higher self, God. That's who we are. The essence of who we are. The spirit that's inside the body, that's of God. That's the spirit. That's what's divine. You have to become conscious of that divinity within yourself. That's waking up. That's becoming enlightened. That's reaching Nehast. That's what I teach for. You can get that level for yourself. I'm there so I can teach. Let's go. Like the injunction, the 42 injunction of Mayat, the teachings contained in the writings of the Per Haru, Book of the Dead, or coming forth by day, are given what? From the first person singular, meaning you're speaking for yourself perspective, but are indeed meant as universal injunctions and therefore may be read. You don't say, do not lie. Instead, you say, I have not lied, speaking for yourself. And likewise, to know thyself instead of I know myself, know thyself. In the text of the chapter 26 of the Per Haru, the initiate Ani, I'm going to use me as an example. Initiate Mark says he has gained control of his body and his soul and will not be imprisoned, meaning when the body ceases to exist, I'm free to leave. I'm enlightened. My spirit will go back to the maker. That's the concept. For all those who don't reach that level, you get to see Amen. Now, this clearly means that he has gained knowledge of what? His true, deeper, powerful self. I know myself. I know thyself. I know my heart. I'm conscious of who I am. Lip is getting big. I got something going on there. Something like that. I can feel it. Now, I no longer know myself as Mark, but as my higher self. You know who that is? Haru. That gives me the power over what? My ego, personality in the physical world, as well as the nether world. There are other passages in chapter 17, chapter 34, and elsewhere in the Per Haru book, as well as the temple inscriptions with the same teachings. Know thyself. The latter was publicized by the Greek temple of Apollo in Delphi on the door, across the door. Know thyself. Let's talk about Shetaut. It means mystery. Shetaut Netta, we're teaching the hidden mysteries of God. In our study, the first and most important teachings is what to be understood by a spiritual aspirant who wants to practice right thing philosophy. The teachings of ancient Egyptian religion surrounds the ancient Egyptian word of Sheta, S-H-E-T-I, or Shedi, S-H-E-D-Y. The T and the D pretty much synonymous in ancient times, so they use them interchangeable. Now, Shedi, which means my favorite thing, spiritual discipline. What's that? Sheta comes from the root Sheta. The ancient Egyptian word Sheta means something which is hidden, something that's secret, something that's unknown or cannot be seen or understood, a secret, a mystery. Hence, when they came and invaded us, they said we practice the Egyptian mystery system. No, we practice the Egyptian spiritual system. We taught spirituality. We were the most spiritual people that walked the planet of Earth according to our invaders. Now, what we got down here? Now, okay, all that means hidden. You got rituals. You got words of power, which is heka, mantras. Okay, thing that know thyself. That's a mantra. Okay, you live by. You got religious texts and pictures that are of Shetaut Netta, or what? Divine mysteries. Shetaut means, again, spiritual discipline is to mean to go deeper into the mysteries. In other words, study the mysteries of the teachings and the literature profoundly. Read, study, get understanding. Ask questions to the teacher or your sage, the preceptor, whoever it is. You need to ask questions of anything you have questions about that you don't understand. And you study your literature profoundly means study, read, and get understanding. You study profoundly to penetrate the mysteries. Find out, go inside and go a little deeper and get the knowledge. Again, I teach esoteric knowledge, not exoteric. The exoteric is the top layer. Everybody gets that. I go underneath. Like my man said in waters, let's dive deep. So, thus, Shetaut is the spiritual discipline or a program to promote what? Spiritual evolution, which was used by who? Our ancient Egyptians. Now we can begin to expand on the teachings of that spiritual program. Shetaut Netta. These all fall under the broad term of Semi-Tawi or Egyptian yoga. Broken down more, Shetaut Netta. The hieroglyphic text relates to the terms that explain the mysteries, provide insight into the vast philosophy of the Kemetic ancient Egyptian spirituality. The essential aspects of the teaching of ancient Egyptian religion outlined in the Kemetic mystery system, aka spiritual system. The hieroglyphs are explained below. That's a lot of intricate stuff. I ain't doing that. I'm going right down here. We're going to go to Shetaut Netta, secrets about the divine self. Learn about God, your higher self. That's what Shetaut Netta teaches you. Let's get into it right quick. Shetaut Netta means the way of wisdom or the hidden divinity, which is behind all creation. Again, God, supreme being. You got religion have three levels of practice. We went through that before. Jesus Christ. No, I ain't got time for that today. The first is the myth. We know about the story. Okay, everybody knows the story of the Bible. They tell stories, but which include the traditional stories of everything related to that. You can study and learn that. That's just the first level. Now, in masonry, an apprentice, get the first degree, learn it, master it, move on to the next level. The next stage is the ritualization of the myth. Live it, go through it, practice this, and understand it for what it is. And the final stage is what? The metaphysical philosophy behind the teachings given in the myth. The stories that educate you. There's a story and a message, message in the story. I teach you that. Now, in our book series, Shetaut Netta Religion, I got that right here somewhere. Yep, there it is. And watch this. Mm-hmm. The complete myth of what? Asar, Aset, and Haru. That's what we're learning. That's the phase of life that you go through. Each one you have to master. So when you become Haru, that's when it makes sense. Now you represent Haru represents the first level of religious practice. The book of coming forth by day represents stage by present stage 2, the realization of the myth. That's all. Now in the book, it is possible to feel, excuse me, through the practice of the rituals contained in the books, it is possible to feel, think, act, and ultimately what? Experience the same fate as did Haru by studying, practicing, and becoming what? Spiritually enlightenment. Stage 3. Thus, a spiritual aspirant is to what? Understand his or her has incarnated back here on earth, which has been disseminated by what? Your egoistic thoughts and negative actions. However, by gaining a understanding of the hidden mysteries, it is possible to reach a state of reintegration, beatitude, and resurrection, just as Haru. Wrapping it up. Therefore, a serious spiritual aspirant should see every aspect of his or her life as the ritual in which the soul within him or her, Asar, is struggling to what? Be reborn again as who? Haru. This spiritual rebirth is accomplished by what? The practices and listening of the teachings, practice them and meditating upon them with the understanding of the hidden knowledge, which you're going to learn from them. You can see that all nature around you is what? Divine. You see God everywhere. This includes plants, animals, planets, stars, food, other people, etc. It goes on. So through your understanding, again, the God of your understanding of the myth and how to relate it to your life. Again, everybody's gonna see it different, but it's what you do with it that makes the difference. It's the same, but how you act on it will make it different. And watch this in your life. Remember, you're doing this. And by experience, and by living your life according to this understanding, ritual, we call it Maya, I call it right thing philosophy, you can lead yourself to what? Discover of the realized mystical experience that you will have when you do these things, you reach that level, the deeper truth behind your own state of being. This is the true practice of religion. That's what religion is intent. I know the intent of religion. I tell you that all the time. That's the purpose of it. But if you only understand the superficial, the exoteric layer, the teachings of religious myths, that's what you're going to do. Walk around with just a little bit. And you practice its rituals blindly without understanding the deeper implications, you will not obtain higher realization, aka enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. Your practice would be at a level of dogma, just words. This is why there is so much religious conflict in the world today because of dogma. And most orthodox religion practices only the two levels of religion, the myth and the ritual, the level of dogma, aka elementary level. At the level of dogma, each religion has different myths and rituals, and therefore little, if any, common ground upon which to come together. They're not going to do that. I told you that. And when there are common principles, those principles are found upon couched in a transmitted through parochial private schools, ideas based on what local folklore, history, geographical variations, and the results of this misunderstanding and ignorance have been personal disillusionment, and it led to personal disillusionment and what? Even wars. Yet at the mystical or metaphysical level, all religions are actually pointing toward the same goal, the same God. That is to what? Spiritual realization, aka know thyself, spiritual enlightenment. That's the lesson. I hope you understood it. I got more. Oh, I got more.